and welcome to SureenaSpeaks. And in this video, I'm going to go through with you how I conduct my NMS consultations. So first and foremost, what is NMS? So NMS stands for New Medicine Service, and it's an advanced service that most pharmacies provide to patients that are newly prescribed a medicine in one of the following four categories. Now, with the new medicine services, it's broken down into two types. You've got the initial stage and you've got the follow-up stage. So in this video, I'm going to show you clips of how I conduct both stages and go through it with you. What I would say is though that this video is how I run my consultations typically. And what's really useful is that on the PSNC website, they've got worksheets for the initial stage and for the follow-up stage, which you can go through whilst you're conducting your NMS service with your patients. I would stress out that you use them as a guidance and as a template. Don't make it as a tick box exercise because you do want it to be a smooth running conversation that you have with your patient. And sometimes you might find that the questions on there either aren't relevant to the consultation that you're conducting, or there might be an additional question that isn't written on there but that you want to ask your patient. And do make sure that you do write your notes out on it clearly. There's enough space on there for adding additional notes. And I really do stress out that you do make your writing legible and that you do make your notes really clear, especially in the initial stage. Reason being is because typically the initial stage is conducted 7 to 14 days after a patient is first prescribed their new medicine, and then the follow-up stage is conducted about 7 to 14 days after the initial stage. Now, by the time that the follow-up stage comes about, you might be working as a relief or as a locum, so you might not actually get to the point of the follow-up stage, or maybe you're not working that day, or even pharmacies are such a busy place that by the time that you get to the follow-up stage, you want to be able to read a set of notes which remind you and jog your memory that, oh yeah, I remember talking to Mr. A about this particular side effect he was first experienced with his medicine. I must bring that up to him when I have this follow-up consultation with him. And again, and personally speaking, when I've done a follow-up stage and I've read the previous notes of pharmacists who have done the initial stage, and sometimes the handwriting is really bad, or the notes they've written just aren't legible, and sometimes there aren't even sufficient notes, it can make the follow-up stage really hard to conduct. So let's help each other out and make sure that when you do the initial stage, you do make your notes really clear. So the beauty of NMS is that it can be conducted over the phone or it can be conducted face-to-face. Either case, it's really important that you make sure your patient does sign a consent form and that they are happy to have the NMS conversation and consultation. If I guess with either case, whether that you're on the phone to them or if they come into the actual consultation and you have a face-to-face conversation with them, the way that I like to start my consultations is to firstly address who I am and explain to them how this consultation will be run and actually the purpose of this consultation as well. So make sure that your patients do understand what is the reason behind having this NMS service and this conversation with them, and like I said, how it will run as well. So check out this initial stage and then I'll do a little bit of a debrief and then we'll go to the follow-up stage after that. So enjoy. So, hello, Mr. Bouchan.
Hello.
My name is Serena. I'm one of the pharmacists in today. So I understand that last week you prescribed a new blood pressure tablet, and because of that, you signed the consent form to take part in our new medicine service. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. So as part of that service, we'll have a short consultation today to see how you've been getting on with it initially, and then we'll arrange a date for 2 weeks' time to see if there's been any changes or if you have any additional questions or queries. As we're going through this consultation, I will be making a few notes, so please bear with me whilst I do that. But I have your new medicine here, your amlodipine tablets. So I can see that you were changed from ramipril tablets to the amlodipine tablets. Why was that?
That's correct. I was originally prescribed ramipril tablets.
Yeah.
And it was fine for a while, but it started giving me a very dry throat.
Okay.
So I went back to the GP and I explained the problem. And that was it really. GP decided that it'd be a good idea to change
Yeah.
the
And
medicine.
did you get a cough as well then with it
I
too?
did, yes.
Yeah.
I did.
So with the Ramipril tablets, a dry throat, which then leads to a dry cough, can be very, very common. So you did the right thing by going to your GP and getting them to change you now to the amlodipine tablets. So
Okay.
initially, how have you been getting on with them? Have you experienced any side effects, for example?
Yes, I mean, yes, it was okay, but I must admit, I've got a different type of problem now,
Okay,
and that is I get a bit lightheaded. I'm
okay,
not sure if it's the medicine, but
yeah.
that's something that's recently occurred, so I'm not sure if the.
Okay, it could potentially be due to the tablets. Is there any particular time of day when it's worse, or any particular activity that you do that makes it worse?
Usually when I'm at work and I've been sitting, I've got a job where I'm behind a PC,
Yeah.
and it's usually when I get up for a break
Mm.
and it kind of like starts.
Okay, so when you've been sitting for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
Fine. I mean, with a change in blood pressure tablets, even in a change of dose with your blood pressure tablets, having a bit of dizziness and lightheadedness, particularly at the beginning for the first few days, is very common, just to reassure you.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be, if you have been sitting down or even lying down for a long period of time, have a big glass of water and get up very, very slowly. That will help to overcome that dizzy type feeling. That should go away very soon. If you're finding though within the next couple of weeks, actually this dizziness still isn't going away, then please come on back and we'll get in touch with your GP and take it from there. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm just going to jot that note down.
Okay.
Another question that I wanted to ask you is, sometimes people do miss few doses because of a busy day-to-day life. It does happen. Have you experienced that at all?
Guilty.
Okay, no
It
problem.
does happen.
It has happened.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what time of day do you usually take your tablets?
Well, I take it in the morning, before going to work.
Before going to work. Fine. And is there a particular time of day, if you had to pinpoint a time, that you take your tablets?
Yes, it is. It is early,
Okay.
so it's around 6 in the morning.
Around 6 in the morning. Okay, so my advice to help you remember is, what you can do is set an alarm on your phone so that 6 o'clock every morning it goes off to remind you, okay, it's now time to take my medicine. There are a few apps you can get as well, again to help to remind you to take your medicines, which I can show you later on if you'd be interested in that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Excellent. What some people find as well is if they place their tablets, for example, by their bedside table, so it's the first thing they see when they get up in the morning, they'll remember to take it. Or even you can take one of your sheets, because there's usually 2 sheets in a packet. Take one of those sheets and keep it in your bag, so that if you do forget to take it when you're at home, at least you have a few spare in your bag on your way to work. Yeah?
Yeah, good idea.
Excellent. So a bit of other advice that I would give, particularly with the amlodipine tablets, is some people prefer to take them in the morning, some people prefer to take them in the evening. My advice is take them at the same time each day. That's the real key thing. And the only main thing to avoid food-wise is, those big orange bitter tasting grapefruits you can get. So avoid grapefruits and avoid grapefruit juice, because that can potentially interact. The other advice that I want to give you with the amlodipine tablets is, some people, particularly at the beginning, can experience swollen ankles, which can be down to the tablets. If you do experience any swollen ankles and it's not going away by, for example, resting your feet or elevating your feet up, then I would advise that you see your GP, and maybe then they would need to review your blood pressure tablets. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Excellent. So just in terms of then your diet, lifestyle, in terms of your blood pressure, have you made any active strategies to try and reduce your blood pressure through your diet, through exercise?
I do try to live a healthy lifestyle,
Okay, yeah.
but I suppose I could do more.
Okay.
So exercise. I've got a treadmill. I'll do 30 minutes of that 5 days a week,
Oh, very good. Yeah.
and then if I got time, I might do some other exercises as well.
Yeah.
And then generally, food-wise, try and have some vegetarian days,
Okay, yeah.
and as I said, try and have a varied diet.
Very diet.
Yeah.
That's very good to hear. The advice that I would give with diet in particular, I heard that you say you have quite a lot of vegetarian meals. Do you eat meat as well?
I do.
Yeah, that's good. So it's good to have a varied diet. In terms of the vegetarian meals you have, sometimes there's an assumption that because we're eating vegetarian food, it's healthier. But sometimes because there's a lot of cheese involved or a lot of fried foods involved, it doesn't necessarily make it healthier. So just be wary of that. And because you are taking blood pressure tablets, you are a bit more at risk of then ending up being on cholesterol tablets. So we want to make sure that we control your cholesterol as much as possible. And we can do that through diet and exercise. It sounds like you're doing the right thing 30 minutes each day when you can. It's about trying to get a sweat on, trying to get that heart rate up, and ultimately trying to make sure that we minimize any heart events that could happen, any cardiac events that we call it that could happen. So a third of it is taking control of the tablets, taking them each day. Another third of it is the exercise, and another third is the diet. So if we can try and maintain all of those together, that will put you in a great way. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds very good.
Excellent. So do you have any other questions or queries for me today with regards to your tablets?
No more questions.
Wonderful. So let's set up an appointment then for another 2 weeks' time where we'll have our next consultation. So that was the initial consultation. What I do want to note is that when it comes to blood pressure medication, some evidence suggests it's best taken first in the morning, others suggest it's best taken at night time. There's a lot of opposing research at the moment, and there's no clear-cut evidence to say that one is better than the other. What I would say is always tailor your advice to the patient that is in front of you. So say there's someone, for example, who works the night shift, maybe saying to them to take their medication first thing in the morning isn't the most appropriate advice. So like I said, tailor it around your advice around the patient in front of you. What I also want to mention is when it comes to the diet, lifestyle portion of the consultation, sometimes that part can be a little bit tricky, especially if you've got someone who's really not motivated to change their bad habits. So maybe they smoke a lot, drink a lot, or just have a very unhealthy lifestyle or very unhealthy diet. It can be really hard to then give them advice in which they'll actually absorb and take on. But what I'd say is use this as an opportunity to use your motivational interviewing techniques. Assess your patient and see methods and ways, work with them to see if there's any way that can motivate them to changing their behaviors. So I guess by providing advice, guidance, support, and educating them on the risk factors of, say, smoking too much or drinking too much, having too much fat or salts in the diet, education can go a long way. And equally, supporting your patients and being there for them, and like I said, using those key motivational interviewing techniques can really benefit your patients all around. Because yeah, this NMS consultation is for patients on these newly prescribed medicines, but also it is an opportunity for you to actually help them with other aspects of their life. For example, smoking, drinking, diet, etc. Now on to the follow-up consultation, and again we'll have a little debrief after that. Hello Mr. Bhushan, lovely to see you again today.
Hello.
So I have your notes from the last consultation we had with regards to your new medicine, your amlodipine.
Yeah.
So in the last few weeks, how have you been getting on with it?
Very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. I know last time you said that you're experiencing some dizziness. Is that still the case?
That isn't.
Oh, okay, good to hear.
That isn't. So that's gone away. So I'm very pleased about that.
I'm glad to hear. Yeah, dizziness and lightheadedness in general tends to only last for a few days with the amlodipine or with blood pressure tablets in general.
Okay.
So I am glad to hear that that has subsided now and that you aren't experiencing that anymore.
Oh, that's right. I'm now, making sure that I, make sure that I'm drinking water, etc.
Very good.
That's really helped.
Very good. And I can also see, I remember you saying that you were sometimes forgetting to take some of your doses, some of your tablets. Is that still the case?
That isn't.
Oh, that's very
yes,
good.
I've got a little planned action to make sure that I take it. So I haven't missed a single one.
Oh,
so
very good.
I've done a few things. So one is I've bought a Dorset box.
Very good.
And so I keep that ready in the morning in the kitchen. So as soon as I've had my breakfast, I know I've got to take it.
Very good.
And just as a belt embraces precaution, what I've also done is what you advise, and put a timer on my phone.
Oh, very good.
So I've got the two. And in fact, and thirdly, I do keep a few spare in my bag,
Oh,
which
that's
I
very
take to work.
good.
So
Got a foolproof plan in
I
place.
have. So thank you for your advice.
No, no problem.
It's really helped me.
I'm glad to hear that. That's what we're here for. So then, with regards to your diet, with your exercise, I know you said that you do try and do about 30 minutes of exercise a day. Have you still been keeping up with that?
Yes, well, I'm still trying.
That's good.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And as I said, as long as I'm fit, if I have got a cold or anything, I will do the 30 minutes
That's good.
a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That's what I try and do. But as I said, it is hard, especially when you come back from work.
Yeah.
It's the last thing on your mind, but I force myself.
That's
So,
good. Yeah, because doing little things like this. So, for example, having the motivation to exercise each day, taking control of your diet. These little actions actually make a big impact on your health overall, make a big impact on your blood pressure, on your cholesterol, on your general well-being. So it is really good to hear that you are trying to get that heart rate going, get a bit of a sweat on, work out when you can. Of course, there will be days when you maybe aren't feeling up to it, which is to be expected, but the more that you can do, the more that you put in essentially is the more that you'll get out. So that's really good to hear. Any other additional questions or queries?
No, it's all good otherwise. Thank you.
Wonderful, I'm glad to hear. So that concludes the service that we do provide, but our number is on the label of your medicine box. So please feel free, if you have any additional questions later on, to just give us a call and we'll be more than happy to help you, or come on in any time and again, we'll help you out with any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much. It's been very useful. Thank you.
So with a follow-up consultation, essentially you're asking the same things that you asked in the initial consultation, but you're actually hoping for a different response. So for example, in the initial consultation, if someone was experiencing a particular side effect, or they weren't taking their medication properly, or they were forgetting to take their medication, in the follow-up consultation, when you ask them those same questions, you're hoping for a different response in that actually those side effects have now subsided, or they don't experience them at all anymore, or that if they did forget to take their medication, now the reminder strategies that you suggested beforehand have actually really helped them and benefited them, and now they're remembering to take their medication. So like I said, it's the same questions essentially as the initial consultation, but you're hoping for a different response. And what I think is really key at the end of the consultation is to give a conclusion and also keep the door open. So if your patient does have any questions or queries that maybe they didn't think of at the time, signpost them, for example, to your telephone number, which is on the label of your medication that you've dispensed for them. Keep it open so that they know that you are contactable and that they can come to you if they think of any other questions or queries later on down the line. I hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much to my guests today for taking the time out to be a part of this video. If you found it useful, then you should
like, share, subscribe.
I also have my Twitter, Instagram and Facebook page, so please check them out too. Good luck with your revision, and until next time,
happy revisings! Got a bit of a contingency plan there.
You've got a contingency plan, that's very good. That's what we like to hear. Belt and braces. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that. Share, was it?
Like, share, subscribe. Okay, so. Okay.
Start again.
Start again. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much to my co-presenter, co-host. What would you be?
Mr. Boucher.
Mr. Boucher. No, thank you. Okay, that was good. That was good. I don't think we need to do another run through. Happy?
Yeah, I want to get off because I'm sweating like a pig.
Okay.
Right.